Yeah, so welcome to Vasily's Madness, folks. This is another chapter to my crazy story of landscaping my gardens here. You know, I told you I've got 20 acres. I don't think I've taken you out here properly. Well, we have looked over there. We've got a little citrus grove and olive grove over there, or just a plantation of olive trees, let's call it that. And here on the other side of the dam here, we've had some good rain, and it's about 90% full, this dam. I thought, well, me and the kids thought we'd plant some maples and olives as well. So, you know, we talk about companion planting or edible gardens, as Craig Castry mentions many times. Mix your flowering plants with your edible plants together in a veggie garden. Well, I'm doing the same with my fruit trees and ornamental trees. I've got an assortment of maples here, which as young trees, now they're bare rooted obviously, and I've spoken about putting them in a grow bag or grow pot, that is, if you're not going to plant them in the ground yet or you don't know where to plant them. Mine have just been sitting in some soil, and I've spoken about these sort of trees, I think, in the past. If I haven't, I'm going to mention it now. Maples, they'll tolerate the high winds and all types of soil conditions, really, you know, from acidic to alkaline soils, and whether it's sandy or heavy clay soil, over a long period of time, once they've established, they'll be fine, but it's getting them to that stage. Now, these, as young plants, will cop a little bit of a wind burn as we get the high winds, and then obviously when the leaves come out. So I've got to look after them, making sure that the wind doesn't knock them about too much, keep them well hydrated and mulched. But I am not going to add, like I have with my fruit trees, I'm not going to be adding compost and manures and all that fancy stuff. I'm just going to turn this soil over as it is, and I'm going to plant them on the side here, not on the highest point of this mound. The crest here. I'm actually going to plant them on the side down here, so we're going to have a little bit of runoff, which means we're going to level off the soil so that when it does run off, we've got a sort of flat surface where the roots are and the water can absorb into it. Now, they grow to about 10 or 15 metres tall and about 6 to 9 metres wide, and I'm planting an olive tree in between, so it's going to be alternating maple, olive, and we're going all the way around the dam there. I can't visually imagine what it's going to look like, but I know I love my maples. I know I'm going to have a lot of olive trees and maybe a couple of seats underneath us. So we're just going to pace it out. 10 paces between the maple and the olive, and then 10 paces between the olive and the maple. And here we go. Got to get all the way around. Just spaced them out, and it's a pretty long distance that I've got. I'm thinking I was going to get 17 trees across around the boundary there, but so far I've got 7 down in position. I reckon another 4 or 5, but I'm going to come back afterwards and put my olive trees in between. I'm going to start over here trenching the hole. You can see I've got a nice dead one there. That's perfect firewood for us, and that's basically tree borer. And let me get this machine over there and I'll show you what's happened to that tree. As old as the hills. There we are, got it. It's going to make a semi-decent firewood. But have a look, we've got holes here, borers. We've got butcher boys growing in there or living in there. And this has basically been attacked. So this is what happens to your tree. Have a look at that tree borer. Right up here along the side of the trunk and the branches, you could see all the tunnelling that was going on under the bark whilst it was still alive. There was no way saving this, and I'm not into injections and all that sort of stuff for trees, but it is available, but you have to go through a tree surgeon who, if you've got a problem like that, that is, if your tree is starting to ooze sap and you can see sawdust coming out of the side, or you can get yourself a clothes hanger and sit there going fishing and trying to find it, plug the holes up because it's got to come out somewhere. But if you have a look up there, you can see it's horrible, isn't it? It's just horrible. Anyway, this tree's going to be firewood now. Let's get back into the digging. Push the same soil back into it, folks. Get the weeds out of the way. The soil that I dug out of here is obviously never going to be enough for me to create that flat plane. So yeah, I'm going to top dress it with a little bit of our composted soil that we got over there. Oh, I've got to do it. I said I wasn't going to add any, but for me to create that sort of flat plane that I want on the top, I need to add some. See how I'm creating this flat surface across here? I'm not going to pack it down, I'm just leveling it off so you can see it better. A little bit of more soil there, so that when we do water it, the water doesn't run off and just goes away. We need to keep these plants hydrated, and they're going to drain pretty quick on the slope here that it is. So a flat surface to start with, and once the roots take, well, it won't need any help after that. There you go folks, one down and a few more to go. Now if you're looking for a little bit of colour in your property, because we've got a lot of green out here, get some maples into your garden. My favourite is the coral bark maple. Have a look at the colour on this. It is gorgeous, bright red bark, and you get this lime green foliage. That contrasting foliage is so vibrant. So I've got a couple of these going around the property, but actually I've got 7 varieties alternating all the way through here, doubling it up, so it'll be 14 if I can get that many in there. Plant yourself a maple in the garden to enjoy, as I am doing here today. And remember, always use the quality products like our Black Grid Eco Boost Liquid Gold if you want your garden to succeed and thrive the way I think my garden's doing pretty well. From me, Vasily, till tomorrow, Maresi.